endlessly striving for better technology, OSTEM Implant is maintaining its unbeatable #1 place in the domestic implant market and making its way to becoming the top global dental company. Enhancing the quality of medical treatment for both dentists and patients with leading technology and proven quality. OSTEM Implant. OSTEM Implant aims to improve human health by sophisticating the treatment technology available for dentists. With the determination to help anyone operate successful treatments, OSTEM is persistently seeking innovative advancements in implant technology. We have acquired FDA and CE approval subject to strict global standards. OSTEM is recognized for its technology and quality in both domestic and global markets. OSTEM has maintained its global #1 place in implant sales since 2017 as a distinctive brand most frequently used by clinicians around the world. OSTEM's innovation goes beyond implants, extending to all products and services for dental diagnosis. Products include Korea's top-selling dental unit chair, dental equipment such as CT with high-quality images, the most similar bone graft material to human bones, and dental resources including impression materials and orthodontics materials. Dental pharmacy services comprise comprehensive oral care and treatment solutions. Korea's top-selling dental software, such as the electronic chart, dental office management software, and examples of the wide-ranging products provided by OSTEM. Furthermore, OSTEM provides a dental office interior design solution that takes patient convenience into consideration. The solution ultimately contributes to create the ideal clinic environment. OSTEM, the digital dentistry leader, offers innovative digital technologies and products including computer-guided surgery, milling machines, 3D printers, and digital orthodontic lineups. OSTEM's corporate dental portal, Dental, has been spotlighted as a one-stop platform that provides services and information including education, news, recruitment, and software for clinicians. Advanced technology and premium quality are the drivers of OSTEM's development as a global dental leader. Securing a high-level dental laboratory, Central Lab, OSTEM now operates 15 dental R&D centers and invests 11% of corporate revenue in R&D. Top dental R&D researchers are striving to develop technologies and products that will lead the global dental industry. As a result, OSTEM has successfully established top-level implant technology and the largest implant product lineup around the world. OSTEM, the digital dentistry leader, established an R&D team for digitalizing dental treatment and proved its capability by setting up full digital dentistry product lines of equipment, materials, and total management software that can manage all clinical steps from diagnosis to treatment. While maintaining top-level quality, OSTEM has established global production bases in Korea, the US, and China, and is cooperating to achieve a better quality assurance system. OSTEM established strict quality management system, which includes high-tech production automation system, total inspection system, and quality tracking system for each process. Performs strict quality control inspections for each production process and product to meet the highest standards. OSTEM also contributes to society. OSTEM's clinical education programs are designed to assist with providing better treatment for both clinicians and patients, and extensively contribute to clinical development for clinicians all around the world. Moreover, OSTEM is continuously expanding its social contribution by sponsoring community service activities and dental academic organizations. OSTEM is also donating scholarships to dental schools and graduate schools for clinical dentistry. OSTEM currently has 13 business sites in Korea as we continue to expand our network globally. The headquarters and central research lab, which is located in Magok, Seoul, is maximizing synergy by unifying R&D capabilities in all fields of dental services. OSTEM is leading the global dentistry industry by expanding its global network to US, China, and Europe, running branches worldwide and exporting products to more than 80 countries. OSTEM is securing the world #1 implant sales company status by experiencing remarkable growth every year. OSTEM Implant's vision does not stop here. OSTEM Implant will strive to develop better technologies to lead the global dental industry that will contribute to healthier life in the era of 100-year human lifespan. OSTEM Implant will advance to become the global #1 implant company by 2026 and global #1 dental company by 2036. A company that is growing endlessly to become the global #1 in the dental industry. OSTEM Implant.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to today's meeting. I wish you had a nice month until we meet today again. And hello, Professor Marco.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome again. It's our honor to see you again.
Me too. Me too.
Okay. So as a brief introduction, again, I am Stephen. I'm a general practitioner dentist and the education manager of OSTEM Middle East. And today we will have the fourth lecture from Professor Marco about digitalized solutions in the placing implants. So this lecture will be the first episode of the finalization in a single and complete arch cases and with aesthetic considerations. And this continuation of the previous webinar that was execution of the guided surgery. So please let me introduce Dr. Marco. He's DDS Master of Science in Oral Surgery, Director and Research Project Manager of OSTEM OIC Italy, Certified in Implant-Based Therapy, European Association of Osseointegration 2013. He's Assistant Professor at the Department of Medicine, Surgery and Pharmacy, University of Sassari, Italy. He's an expert in dental solutions, more than 100 publications in peer-reviewed journals, private practice limited to dental implants and prosthodontics in Rome, Italy. So before we start, we want to just announce that anyone have any question, please write down on the chat section. So Professor Marco.
Okay.
And start, please.
Okay. Perfect. Just 1 second, I remove this from the screen. Okay. So today the topic is single and complete arch aesthetic consideration, as Dr. Steven introduced before. And as he told you before, is the fourth webinar. So I split it in two webinars, the finalization of our treatment with OSTEM implants. Before starting, I want to share with you this manuscript that is a very nice paper regarding a decision tree about screw retainer or cemented retainer restoration. Is an open debate about this kind of retention. Honestly, in Europe, but mostly in Italy, almost 100% of the restoration are screw retained. However, just in brief, the benefit of the screw retainer restoration. We publish also a consensus conference with the Italian scientific community. Screw retainer restoration, the most benefit of this kind of retention is the retractability. So the possibility to unscrew the prosthesis for any kind of intervention, modification, color, contact points, because we need to replace the ceramic for any reason, peri-implantitis, for any reasons, we have the possibility to unscrew the prosthesis very easy. Also, from an aesthetic point of view, we have more space because we have only one component, that is the crow. We don't have the abutment and the crow on the top. However, screw retainer restoration are a little bit more complicated, the management in case of multiple implants, and particularly if the implants are not parallel. We have a hole on the top. Another benefit is that we have not cement. For several reasons, you know, I love guided surgery, so allow me to place the implant as parallel as possible. Screw retainer restoration is my favorite. Screw retainer restoration and not cement. We can management the emergence profile, and we have also several possibilities with customized abutment and other prosthetic findings like one abutment one time. I will show a case, multi-unit abutment, or also platform switching. So prosthetic play a very important role in the maintenance of the peri-implant bone, and we can reach the zero marginal bone loss with our implants. So how do we make the definitive restorations? As I told you before, could be screw retained or cemented retained, and Ostem provide a prosthetic solution for both. In the last year, we use very happily the TS-Link abutment for the screw retainer restoration and the pre-milled abutment for cemented retainer restoration. With Ostem, we can also use a stock abutment from the catalog to deliver both screw retainer or cemented retainer restoration. But if we want to work in a digital workflow, these are the most important components that we can have. And I want to see both of them. Pre-milled is mostly for the cemented retainer restoration, but we can use also for the screw retainer restoration with a little bit more, some tips. However, pre-milled abutment, even if is a customized CAD/CAM solution, could be used using a digital or analog workflow. What does it mean? It means that we can take a digital impression or an analog impression, but we can use pre-milled abutment in both cases, and we will see some example. The same for TS-Link abutment. We can work with the analog or digital workflow, and with the TS-Link abutment, again, we can perform cemented retainer restoration or screw retainer restoration. As I told you before, with both analog on digital workflow. Working in a digital workflow, we can work with a prototype model or model free. So this seems to be a little bit complicated, but it's very easy because with all the solutions, we can work in a fully digital workflow with or without the model, or in an analog workflow, as you prefer in your clinic. With the TS-Link abutment, we can perform monolithic zirconia restoration or zirconia abutment and ceramic restoration, the so-called cemented hybrid restoration. What does it mean? This means that are restoration that are cemented outside the patient mount and screw retained in the patient mount. I will show an example. So what we need scan abutment if you want to work in a digital workflow, and Ostem provided 3 types of scan abutment. A peak scan abutment on the top of my slide, on the top left, but are used just in the lab. Are PIC scan abutment you can put on the T-link and are used in the lab. In the patient mount, we have two kinds of scan abutment, the standard one and the new one. I will show both. OSTEM also provide scan healing. However, scan healing can be used only for cemented retainer restoration. And of course, OSTEM provided all the digital lab analog that we need. So first of all, we need scan abutment. As I told you before, we have scan healing, we have a PIC scan abutment for dental lab, and we have two kinds of metal scan abutment. Here you can see some example in the model. This is the standard type. Now we have also a new one, but please put in the correct position. To put in the correct position with the face oriented in the buccal part of the patient mount, because it's more easy to scan. This is the most important part, because when you put the model on the STL file on the software, we need to recognize this face in order to match the libraries and to start our digital CAD/CAM restoration. But it's very easy, particularly if you use the guided surgery, because we need to place the implant with the yellow face of the mount in case of guided surgery, or with the rounded sign in the conventional mount in case of a freehand approach, in order to orient the face of the internal hexagon of the implants. So all the prosthetic abutment, all the prosthetic component will be correctly oriented. So with the scan abutment, then in the software, we need to match the coronal part of the scan abutment with the corresponding analog. In the software, we need to specify what kind of analog or scan abutment we are using, what kind of prosthetic component, premill, T-link, or stock abutment we want to use, and automatically we match with the implant position, and we can create the model or the CAD/CAM restoration model-free. As I told you before, we can also link the abutment from the catalog, angle or transfer abutment. We have the library to work with this kind of abutment. But also not only stock abutment, also customized abutment. These are the pre-milled. I showed you before the pre-milled, mostly for cemented retainer restoration. I will show some cases later. Scan body to link are the most used in my clinic because I want screw retainer restoration. We have different kind of link with different gingival height, different height of the prosthetic part, and we are waiting for the new one with new size, new measurement, also the diameter of the link, and also the possibility to have the open one for particularly for anterior restoration or tilted implants. These are the new scan abutment, change the design, are a little bit more dark, and we have two different phases, a short one for the mini implants and the larger one for the regular implants. We also have scan abutment for multi-unit. So we can take the impression, even if multi-unit is mostly used for the digital restoration, for the full arch, restoration, and it's not yet the best protocol to take a digital impression for completely dentulous patients. But this is the topic of the second part of this webinar. Scan healing, last but not the least, the possibility to have scan healing abutment with the face on the top, with the sign on the top, that could be scanned and matched with some specific library, like this. However, scan healing are suggested not for the link, but only for cemented retained restoration, because the accuracy of the scan healing is not 100% perfect, accurate, so the OSTEM company suggested only for cemented retainer restoration. So we need a compensation of a few microns, that is the compensation of the cementation, and not for the screw retainer that must to be very precise. As you can see, this is a comparison with the normal conventional scan abutment and the scan healing. Once again, the new one, scan abutment and the scan healing. Here in the same patient, we can see all the digital scan abutment, scan healing, the conventional, and the new one. So you can use what do you prefer. Remember that with the scan healing, you can just finalize with cemented retained restorations. So E-link abutment, TS-link abutment are used for cemented retainer restoration, even if I will show a protocol also for cemented retainer restoration. I'm sorry, T-link abutment are used for screw retainer restoration, but they can also be used for cemented retainer restoration. However, in the past, this kind of solution was used from an aesthetical point of view. However, with the improvement of the aesthetics of the monolithic zirconia, we don't need to realize the customized abutment and cement a more aesthetic ceramic on the top, because the aesthetic of the monolithic restoration improve a lot. As you can imagine it, if you prepare a CAD/CAM abutment and then cemented on the top a ceramic crown, is more expensive. In the past, we used this solution in anterior region. Today, we don't need. The same of T-link abutment in an analogical point of view are the gold and end-piece cast abutment. However, today, with the digital solution, we don't need of this kind of abutment that are for conventional analog workflow. So, as I told you before, today we have regular and mini TS-link abutment with or without hexagon, with two kinds of gingival height, 1 and 2 millimeters, and two kinds of prosthetic height, 3 and 5. Depend of the vertical space, the last one, and the gingival aid depend of the dipping of the implants. Even if we work, your dental lab work at zirconia, very, very clean, we can also use always the one and creating a emergence profile of the restoration with the zirconia, but must to be very, very cleaned. These are the new one, different gingival aid and prosthetic aid, and also the open one. I hope they will be ready as soon as possible. Scan Body Lab, as I told you before, is a peak scan body that engage on the link, but are dedicated for the dental lab, not in the patient mount. These are the conventional one with the red point is the area for the matching that must to be very clean and perfectly scanned. We have two kinds of scan abutment, the long and the short, depending on the dipping of the implants, or usually the short one are used in the lab for fully dentulous patients, the long in the patient mouth, maybe I use 99% the long one. And this is the new type with different shape, as I told you before, two kind of design, the big one and the short one. These are for the mini implant, mini connection, and these are for the regular or standard connection. The correct position, the difference between the short and the long, wrong position in the red and in blue, the correct position. And as I told you before, we have libraries 100% in Exocad and 3Shape software. So I introduced the concept of both digital or analog impression. We can produce CAD/CAM restoration with both workflow. I will show some example. What we need if we work in a fully digital workflow, we need an intraoral scanner, scan abutment, T-link or pre-milled. If we work in an analog digital workflow, we need conventional transfer, and our dental lab will scan with one of the three scan abutment that we have, peak, normal, and the new one, and then it can use pre-milled or link abutment the same. So we have the same prosthetic option independently by a digital or analog workflow. On your left, you can see a digital impression, a prototype model, but as I told you before, we can work with or without the model, depending on the type of restoration we need, or in a mixed analog and digital workflow with an analog impression and a gypsum model. Some example. I want to show you first this example that is mixed. You see an gypsum model, but I want to show you how to cement the zirconia monolithic crown on the T-link. First, we steam the link just to clean, and of course we dry it with some air. We can sandblast just the retention part and using a primer for the metal. You use the same primer depending on the cement that you use, of a specific primer for the zirconia. As you know, we cannot more than say, we cannot use some acid on the zirconia, but just steam, just sandblasted, and just use some primer. Depending on the cement that you use, we can have just one primer for all the surfaces like metal and zirconia, or two different primers. After cleaning, sandblasted, steam again, and the primer, we put some cement, resin cement, on the link, and the same, a little bit of cement inside the crown. Before use the cement, please try the link on the crown. Must to be very, very passive without any kind of resistance. Then we closed and we have some excess of cement. Usually I did this procedure with magnification and use the quick cure. Just one recommendation. When I cement the link, I remove the screw, even if sometimes could be complicated to put again the screw because maybe the channel is a little bit tilted. But I want to be able to remove and place the screw anytime. Sometimes my dental technician cemented with a screw in the link. And sometimes it's not easy because the screw have a diameter maybe larger than the hole in the crown. So it's most important that you are able to place and remove the screw also after cementation. So I suggest to cement the link without the screw inside. But you can put some Teflon in order to make the removal of the cement easier. After a quick cure, I leave 3 minutes in the oven for composite materials. Then I remove very, very easily and use some instrument to refine the restoration. And this is the crown in the patient mount. So why I cemented the crown in the link myself? Because if I receive an already cemented crown, it's possible that the contact point are not good. If the contact point is bigger, I very, very carefully remove and set perfectly. However, if the contact point is not enough, I need to put in the oven in order to adjust the contact point. The same for the color. Sometimes just with some refine, I can change the color, but sometimes we need to put in the oven, in the ceramic oven, to modify the color. If the link is cemented, we publish a protocol for the debonding, 450 degrees for 5 minutes, so that the resin cement can break, and then is easily to remove the link. But we need to put the link in the oven, and we can risk some oxidation that we need to clean very carefully or to change with the economic cost. So we published this protocol and also some analysis at the microscope. We concluded that we can reuse the link after the bonding. Please don't put the screw on the oven, just the link and the crown. However, this procedure is maybe you need 40-45 minutes for all the procedure. So I suggest to check contact point, and the color before the cementation, and to cement chair side after this control. So some clinical cases, analog workflow and digital restorations. Look at this case, mixed natural teeth and implants. I use a conventional impression, polyether impression, conventional transfer abutment, but T-link used in a conventional gypsum model. Or another example, this example is what I told you before, abutment in zirconia and then lithium disilicate on the top. These are some old cases. Why we do this one? Because in the past year, the zirconia was just some colors, and maybe 8-10 years ago, only white. Then some colors like A1, A2, A3, but in the past was very bad color and very, very opaque material. So in order to improve the aesthetics, we realized a CAD-CAM abutment. We cemented the CAD-CAM abutment on the link and then cemented the lithium disilicate crown on the zirconia abutment. This procedure was very, very aesthetics, very, very nice from an aesthetic point of view. However, we have a double cost. From an economical point of view, it's not good because we have the cost of the link, the cost of the abutment, and the cost of the crown. Fortunately, today, we have a very nice monolithic zirconia. Also, in this case, that this is a bridge, conventional impression, as I showed you before, conventional transfer impression, pickup impression, face bow, gypsum model, and my dental technicians prepare a zirconia bridge, monolithic zirconia bridge, just painted, cemented on the link abutment, as you can see on the radiograph. Now we have a very nice zirconia restoration. Also, the dental technicians improve the ability to paint the zirconia restoration. In the anterior area, zirconia restoration was modified with some addition of ceramic with a cut-back technique. We remove some zirconia and we put some ceramic in order to improve the aesthetics. However, only in the anterior region, because in the posterior region, we have a risk of ceramic chipping. So in the posterior, we prefer monolithic restorations. This is an old cases, cemented restoration on customized abutment. I go very quickly. This lady is coming in my clinic because she lost anterior teeth, but is a very dramatic case from a periodontal point of view. I plan the extraction of all the maxillary teeth. This is my treatment plan, periodontal therapy. I extract some teeth in order to maintain a temporary restoration, periodontal treatment, implants in the lower. And this is the planning of the guided surgery. 6 implants, 1 immediate implant, 1 sinus lift elevation. And these are some customized zirconia abutment. As I told you before, today, this is not the protocol. Today, we can have zirconia restoration reinforced from a metal bar or maybe splitted zirconia bridge. But I will show this protocol for completely dentulous patient in the next webinar. As you can see, the zirconia abutment are very, very white and opaque. So this is the reason why we wanted to cover it with more aesthetic ceramics, but just to show what was the protocol in the past. This is the live surgery, 2 template at the time, 2016, 8 years ago, 7.5 years. Second template for the posterior implants. This is the surgery. I go very quickly because 4 implants were the first template. Mini implants in the anterior. This procedure was performed in a live surgery. Extraction of the teeth, the second template for the posterior implants. Okay, and sinus lift with a casket. And at the end, I put the abutment in order to perform cemented retainer restoration. Look at this photogram. I performed the last extraction, and this is the patient with the temporary restoration. I just avoid to do the immediate loading in the implants with immediate implants for low, not so much stability. What is the problem to place the mid abutment the day of the surgery? This protocol is named one abutment one time. That maybe we need to refine and to remove just to clean. But from a scientific point of view, in a systematic review, has been demonstrated that we can expect lower marginal bone resorption if we put immediately the abutment and we remove as less as possible, 2-3 times maximum. So these are the abutment cemented on titanium link and zirconia restoration with the lithium disilicate crown on the top. As I told you before, it's very aesthetic restoration, but very expensive from an economical point of view. Next time, I will show modern solution, more economically and also good from an aesthetic point of view. But I would want to share with you the possibility to perform customized abutment cemented on titanium link. This is before and after CBCT scan and the 3 steps. The first visit, temporary restoration, and definitive restoration, also with some follow-ups. So this is another case, single case with the titanium link and screw retained restoration. I want to show you this case because we can do some aesthetic consideration from this case. This is Stefano. Stefano needs an orthodontic treatment because you have a genesis of the upper lateral incisors. So this case required aesthetic and functional consideration. Orthodontic treatment 5 years ago, opened the space to place the implants. So maybe we saw this case for the planning because we did CBCT scan, STL file, and Smile Creator in order to perform a digital workup. This is the Smile Creator, the outline, segmentation of the teeth, creating a perfect workup in order to plan our implants. 3.5 millimeter implants for 11.5 millimeter of length. The space is quite narrow, but with a guided surgery in single anterior area, we are very, very, very satisfied. So I have not the video, but this is some picture of the surgeries, implants, and the digital impression for temporary restoration. Because 5 years ago, we have not still so much confident with digital impression. Now, 90% of my impression are digital. This is a prototype model, and we create a temporary restoration. So, from an aesthetic point of view, temporary restoration, screw retained is fantastic because allow to unscrew and to modify, removing or adding material depending on the shape of the soft tissues, on the thickness and quality of the tissue, so we can modify the emergence profile in order to work on the aesthetics. In the past, in order to send to the dental technicians the perfect emergence profile that we reach with the temporary restoration, we performed a copy of the emergence profile. How it's possible to do it? We made some silicone and one standard conventional analog of the implants. We screw the temporary restoration on this analog, as the picture in the middle, and put more silicone at the half level of the temporary restoration. So when we remove the temporary, unscrew the temporary restoration, we have the shape of the cervical portion of the transition zone. We put the conventional transfer and put some flow, composite flow. So we have the so-called customized transfer. We can do the same in a digital way, scanning directly the emergence profile and the cervical portion of the temporary restoration. I showed in the first webinar. So these are silicon polyether impression with customized transfer abutments. Then we move from analog to digital, because you remember now we are analyzing analog to digital solutions. But it's very important from an aesthetic point of view, because different from the posterior area, as I told you before, in the posterior area, monolithic zirconia restoration. In the past, CAD/CAM and cemented on the top disilicate restoration, but outside the patient mount, in order to have an hybrid cemented outside the patient mount as screw retained. But now, with the improvement of the material, we can have a core of zirconia and then stratify feldspathic ceramic, but just in the anterior area, because in the posterior, we have a risk of chipping. So it's most important, according to the emergence profile that we transfer to our dental lab, the dental lab produce the framework of the zirconia according of the ceramic that he needs from an aesthetic point of view. So with a customized zirconia framework in agreement with the shape of the temporary restoration, including the cervical part. So it's most important, the communication with the dental lab. We need to transfer the transition zone. We need to transfer the emergence profile of the temporary restoration. So the dental lab can produce a zirconia framework with the already planned cutback in order to plan the space for the aesthetic ceramic, feldspathic ceramic. And we can reach function and aesthetics. It's very nice this case, because even if the patient underwent an orthodontic treatment, we have different emergence profile, because we have more space in the left side of the patient, your right side. But we customize, so it's not a problem. We are not standard component. We customize the component. Here you can see a perfect emergence profile. I want to show you a magnification of this picture, because it's very nice. Look at the connective tissues, sulcus epithelium on the top, and the junctional epithelium. We have the biological width here, but we want to transfer sulcum here. This is the sulcum. This is the junctional epithelium, and just on the back, the connective tissue. So it's very important, the rule of the temporary restoration, and with the cemented retainer restoration, we can do this one. These are the final restoration, the day of the delivery, and some follow-ups. And the tissues very love the zirconia, before and after. So maybe the last analog to digital case, I want just to show very quickly, this is an immediate implants. Very carefully to extraction and preparation. Also, this is an old case, nothing guided surgery. Temporary restoration. Temporary restoration, I also prefer screw retainer temporary restoration. We have a temporary abutment. It's most important that immediate loading of single implant, we have no occlusal contact. In this case, I also plan a connective tissue graft, desepitization from the palatal, and put like an envelope in order to improve, and then graft. Maybe if you want, we can also plan more webinar in the future, speaking about immediate implants, guided bone regeneration, soft tissue management, whenever you want. So I want to show you the effect of both emergence profile. Once again, temporary restoration. Temporary restoration must be with a concave profile or flat, depending of the situation. This is concave profile. I will show you later a flat, depending of what we want to push. In this case, with the connective tissue graft, we want to push, but if you don't have more tissues, must to be as flat as possible. Transfer the emergence profile. This is the final crown, but I want to show you a 5 years follow-up. The connective tissue graft remain and no marginal bone loss. So now I want to move to digital solution, both screw retained and cemented retained. And as I told you before, we can work with a model-free. What does it mean, model-free? Single crown, monolithic, we can design on the software, and then we can just paint it. We don't need a model. But if we, for example, multiple implants, bridge, completed arch, or in case we need to stratify some feldspathic ceramic on the top, we need a model. So we can work with or without the model, but the software for CAD design allows to create the model and the restoration. I want to show you this case is a failed canine with a lateral incisor that need an orthodontic treatment, just to show you what does it mean flat profile. In this case, I didn't perform immediate loading. Maybe I already showed the surgery of this case, just one implant, very easy. I think I show you in the past webinar, one implant, not immediate loading in this case, but the definitive restoration, you can see a flat profile and an image and concave profile here. As I told you before, this is a 1 millimeter link. We also have a 2 millimeters. If your dental technicians clean very well the zirconia, so I prefer the zirconia in contact with the tissues. But if maybe the implant is so deeper and you are not sure of the cleaning of the zirconia, we can use 1, 2, or in the future, 3 or 4 or 5 millimeters of gingival height. However, as I told you in my previous webinar, I want this distance maximum 4 millimeters. And when it's possible, I prefer zirconia. Of course, we need a long and narrow profile, flat, because otherwise we can create some compression of the tissues and the tissues could have some recession. But if you improve, or in case of thick biotype, we can push a little bit in any direction we need. But please try with the temporary restoration before and then copy to the definitive restoration. And this is the final crown that is perfectly the same of the wax-up. Just in the buccal part, we have a little bit more zirconia for mechanical reasons. This is the final restoration in the patient mount and the follow-up. This is another case. I can go very quickly because here I just want to show you the scanning phase working in a fully digital workflow. The patient needs a crown of the natural tooth and an implant to replace the previous failed implants. Also in this case, I don't plan an immediate implants. As I told you before, if you want, I can share my experience with the immediate implants. Unfortunately, I completely agree with a beautiful paper 2017 of Boozer that the criteria for the immediate implants, single immediate implants, are very, very strictly. So in my experience, 10% of the cases could be safely treated with immediate implants. So these are the implants, and very quickly, the impression in a digital, fully digital workflow. This is a cord for the natural abutment, a natural tooth. The second one, I use the double core technique. This is a previous scan with the Medit E700. Then I cut I remove the cord and take impression of the abutment. I remove the temporary. This is the scan abutment with the square face oriented buccally. If you have any dub, please take a radiograph in order to be sure that the scan abutment sits very well. Then I remove the cord and take the impression of the sulcum and of the scan body, improving the quality, high resolution. And the last step, after removing the cord of the abutment. In this case, we plan a zirconia restoration, but with some ceramic on the top. So we asked for a prototype model. As you can see, the prototype model could be delivered with the gum, artificial gum to be removed, and also with removable abutment in order to make easier the work of the dental technician. And these are the restoration with some feldspathic ceramic on the top. Another workflow in the posterior area. After the impression, you need to select the library according to the scan abutment. We have SB in exocad, scan body, or SBO, scan body oral, that is the new version. But you can put on the favorite. So if you see the start on the right, we can select 2, 3 scan abutment that you use as a favorite, so it's very easy to find. After you select the scan body, you need to select the link and to match, as I told you before, in the central part, and then waiting for the best fit. So the software recognizes the scan abutment, the implants, the link, and you can plan or the model, if you are in Model Creator, or the crown in case you need to finalize the crown in a fully digital workflow. Here is the profile of the temporary restoration. Then dental technician can start to plan our crown on the selected link abutment. This is 2 millimeter of gingival 8 and 5 millimeter of profile. So in this case was a whole case with a lithium disilicate cemented on the top. But as I told you before, even if this crown is very nice from an aesthetic point of view, in premolar, molar area is not sense because we can reach very good results with monolithic zirconia restoration. And in anterior, we can do the same, multi-layered zirconia, cutback, and ceramic. I want to show you this picture because, as I told you before, even if we prepare an abutment in zirconia bonded on a titanium link, the crown lithium disilicate has a hole in the occlusal surface in order to cement the crown outside the patient mount. But as I told you before, now I suggest monolithic zirconia. So some cases with the pre-milled abutment. Pre-milled abutment, the real topic is cemented restoration. Look at this patient, compromised for a periodontal point of view. But I extracted very few teeth because I maintain the anterior teeth. I prepare the teeth in anterior and plain implant just in the posterior area. So in order to deliver one bridge implant supported on the left, one bridge implant supported on the right, and a zirconia bridge on the anterior area. These tooth also allow to have a bridge fixed temporary restoration guided surgery. Very quickly, 2 implants on the left, 2 implants on the right. For this case, I use a new hydrophilic surface on the implants. Maybe you can see here because the surface is a little bit darker. As you can see on the back, these are NH implants. It's very similar to soy implants with hydrophilic surface. What does it mean pre-milled? Pre-milled is the abutment that you have on the right. It's a very big titanium abutment, but you can customize the shape, the emergence profile, and mostly the cement line, because as I told you before, one benefit of the screw retainer restoration is that there is no cement. Cemented retainer restoration have a cement. If you use the stock abutment and the implant is a deeper, or the soft tissues are not perfectly the same, but a little bit customized, you can have some problem to remove the cement. Using a CAD/CAM abutment, as you can see here, you can customize the cement line. So it's not important how is deeper the implant, because you can customize and moving the cement line at the cervical level. Also, according to the shape, you can design, according to the crown, you can design the shape of your restoration. As you can see here, for example, in this abutment, look at the cement line. In this area is very high, in this area is very deeper, because here we have a natural tooth with a periodontal peak, and here we have bone atrophy. The red line are the line of the milling machine. So the software calculate all the movement of the drills mounted on the machine in order to create the milled abutment. Milled abutment are original connection. You can see here the laser sign that means Ostem original screw, but customized abutment. And then zirconia monolithic on the top with some feldspathic ceramic in the anterior. Of course, the cement line is visible, but as you remember, this is a periodontal compromised patients. So I want in the posterior area to have the perfect control of the cementation and the clinic of the patient. In anterior area, we put the cement line 0.5, 1 millimeter deeper of the soft tissues. This is another case, pre-milled abutment once again, but in this case, my dental technician put an opaque materials to make the pre-milled restoration white, and on the top cemented monolithic zirconia restoration. Why? Because in a few years ago, we don't have a lot of T-link, just 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, and 4 millimeter of diameter. So if you need a customized T-link abutment, you can use the pre-milled as a customized pre-link abutment. For example, in case of wider restoration, or also in case of periodontal compromised patients that we have a long prosthesis. In the future, we will have more and more shape of T-link abutment. But in the past, if we need to support the restoration, or in case of longer restoration, you can use the pre-milled abutment like customized the T-link abutment. But this is the same protocol. If I made an hole on the crown, I could cement it outside the patient mount and then screw retain it in the patient mount. This is the last case. In this case, I used stock abutment with the same concept. Stock abutment with the opaque material is like a composite material, because the abutment never go in the oven. This is most important. Also, the reason why I love the TS-link abutment, the T-link abutment, because the metal never go in the oven, avoiding any kind of oxidation of the titanium. And here, as I told you before, the crown have an hole on the top, so I cemented outside the patient mount and screw retainer in the patient mount. So finally, I want to show you some cases in the last minute with the scan healing. If you remember, as I told you before, scan healing as suggested only for cemented restoration. This is a very nice case because after 4 years of follow-up, in the past, I'm not so young as I would. I am 22 years of experience. This is one case that I performed maybe immediately after 6 or 7 months after my degree in 2000. In that period, there is a philosophy to place one implant for one root. Fortunately, I did only 3 cases. One of these failed immediately before the prosthesis. One is still in the patient mount, 22 years of follow-up, and this case failed 14 years later. However, patient asked me to remove just one implant in order to maintain the crown and remove the implant later. I agreed. I never saw the patient for 6 years. So finally, the second implant failed 21 years after its placement. In 2000, I placed the implant. 2014, the patient came back in my clinic with a perimplantitis. I removed one implant. 2021, I need to remove the second implant. Of course, guided surgery, GBR. These are the digital planning, no short implants. I prefer normal implant with the titanium mesh. These are the reopening, a lot of good bone around my implants. And this is the scan healing. Scan healing have this design. There are different designs according to the diameter and also the shape, the length of the scan healing in order to allow the software to recognize the, look here, we have one here and one here. Of course, we need to set the metal option in your scanner and scan the healing abutment. This is the carrier. Now you can see the video and I will check the chat, however, is in Arabic language. I'm so sorry, I'm not able, but maybe Stephen can translate later. I'm very lucky because one of my assistants is Arabic language, but unfortunately, she's not here with me now. So you can scan and go to the fabrication of the abutment for the cemented restoration. As I told you before, different type of healing, different design in order to allow the software to recognize. And this is a live a video of the procedure. Again, we are looking on the library. This is my first cases, so I didn't put in the favorite list because it was my first cases. But I give the code. I have the code, so I can immediately find it. Then I selected the kind of scan healing, what link I want. And I need to select the same portion that are indicated in the software. You can imagine that the area for the matching is not so big. So even if the matching seems to be very good, maybe we can have some inaccuracy. So this is the reason why is suggested only for cemented retainer restoration in order to have a little bit of tolerance with the cement in case of inaccuracy. This is the emergence profile and the crown, ready for the crown. The same case, look on your right at the alignment, and on your left, the design of the monolithic restoration. As I told you before, this is a pre-milled abutment that are designed like a customized link abutment. However, I'm very happy to state that in the near future, we have a lot of link abutment, also wider, in order to better support, like in this case, we need wider in order to better support the monolithic restoration. We just wait, I think, as less as possible. This is the prototype model, the customized pre-milled, as I told you before, like a customized link abutment. The crown that are cemented on the patient mouth, not outside, for the reason that I showed you before. So we have a customized emergence profile, and in this case, metal ceramic crown. So another case, 3 different scanning once again, the normal one, scanning, and the new one. I did a comparison with this case. This is the standard one, how to match library, match in the surface, and connect the link abutment. So this is the area for the matching. This is the scanning, same procedure, but we select on the library the scanning. And the matching is in this portion. And again, the abutment for cemented restoration. Okay. This is the finalization with the monolithic crown, once again cemented in the patient mouth. And this is the new one. Honestly, I'm moving to use this one because, first of all, I have 2 faces, short and larger, in order to immediately recognize the implant platform. The short one is for the mini platform, the wider is for the regular platform, and are also more easy to scan. And also the shape is very, very, very nice. So now I'm moving to the new one. So this is the crown cemented on the patient mouth. So, Stephen, I finished this first part. I showed not all, because in the next webinar, I will show the solution of the completely dentus patient. Just I show you one completely dentus arch cemented restoration. I hope to give some example of my practice on the past, in the last year, etc., analog and digital workflow. But I'm really happy to share all the solution from OSTEM that in the last year improved day by day, and also in the future we can expect more and more solution for digital prosthesis. I don't know if there are some questions on the chat, because are in Arabic language. So
Yes.
Stephen, can you help me?
Yeah, in the Arabic, it just was a technical problem, but we have only one question, and is in English.
Okay. My question is yes.
Yeah. Why can we use healing abutment, scan healing abutment?
I explain again. Because scan healing, the surface for the matching is not bigger and is flat. So the matching that is very similar to the guided surgery. Matching means that we need to superimpose and to match the STL file of the intraoral scanner with the STL file of the library. So it's a STL to STL on STL matching. In case of guided surgery, is STL on DICOM matching. But the same concept. More surface we have, more clear image we have, and more accurate is the matching. However, in case of definitive restoration and scan healing, we have two problems. The first is that it's metal. Even if the new scanner have the filter for the metal and the scan of the metal is quite good, we can expect some a little bit inaccuracy. But also the surface of the scan healing is very small comparing with the surface of the scan abutment and is flat. So when you match flat surface instead of a square, for example, surface rectangle, in fact, for a perfect matching, you should have 3 different points in order to have a perfect match. But if these points are all in the same, are very flat to flat or in the same line, we can have some, we can expect some loss of accuracy. This loss of accuracy is about 10, 20 microns. That is too much for screw retainer restoration, but is in a range of tolerance in case of cemented restoration. But I want to add one more feedback. In case of single restoration, maybe 20, 30 micron of inaccuracy, we can compensate with a little bit more resin cement inside the link, or just to refine a little bit the contact point. So honestly, I performed just to test some single screw retained monolithic restorations after impression of the scan healing. And honestly, one time I spend a lot of time to set, one time I go very quickly. So honestly, even if you have a single screw retainer restoration, I completely agree with Ostem. The suggested protocol is conventional scan body. Particularly if you have a multi-restoration, a bridge, of course, you cannot use it. So the reason, just to answer your question, you can use also for screw retained, but the risk to lose time in the single restoration and the risk to start again in case of multiple restoration. So according to the protocol for cemented restoration, for 2 reasons. The first is that the metal is not perfectly recognized by the scanner, not all the scanner, and the surface for the matching that is very small and flat. These are the reasons. I think I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Yes, the answer was very clear and informative. Okay, so I don't think we have more questions. This is the questions we have for today.
Okay.
Okay.
Also because in Italy it's still 7:15, but is 2 hours late in Dubai.
Yes.
Yes. So in the last webinar, I will present most cases because I already introduced several concepts and all of the cases regarding multiple restoration, screw retained with titanium bar, in composite, in zirconia, and particularly I want to focus on the limit of the zirconia restoration and how to overcome these limits.
I think the multi-abutment will be included
Yes, of course.
Okay. because
Yeah,
many people are asking about it.
Yes, I use the multi-unit abutment very rarely for partial restoration, but 100% of the cases of multiple restoration. Maybe I can show one case in the partial, one case with convertible abutment, and all the cases with multi-unit abutment, because are mandatory in complete large restorations.
Okay, so we can announce about our upcoming lectures. It will be, yes, 24th of November.
In 1 month, yes.
So yeah, after 1 month. So in the same time, 8 p.m. in Dubai time and 6 p.m. in Italy.
No, 7 p.m. because we have the summertime finish at the end of October.
Okay, so
it will be just 1 hour.
It'll be 1 hour difference.
I will be more close to you.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So we will be waiting for this lecture, and we will wait for everyone.
I also want to invite the participant to share some feedbacks about this webinar and maybe some topics for next educational programs.
Okay, we can make it in a survey maybe in the next
yes.
webinar.
And of course to invite it in Dubai next February.
Yes, this will be our announcement now. And yes, we will have our OSTEM meeting in Dubai. This will be February 5 of the next year. So we are waiting for everyone to come in person.
I will do it.
Yeah, sure, Professor Marco, you can see him face to face if you come.
And I will show new cases. I selected the cases in the webinar in order to avoid the cases that I will show in the webinar, in the meeting.
Okay, that will be great. So everything will be fresh.
Yes. Okay, thank you and see you next month.
Okay, thank you, Professor, and see you next month. And thank you, everyone, for attending today with us. And we're waiting for you next month.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.